Welcome back. This is M-Dog, and figured we would try to record a Russian Fishing 4 video without having the mic muted this time. So that's what we're going to do here right now. And we're just going to do a little trolling here in the rain at Volkhov, see how that works out for us. Apparently we are doing happy hour. And I'll go over the lures we're using here in just a minute. All right. Alright, so first of all on this one we do have the Snatcher S002. And over here we're using our one handmade lure. The Balsa 75F006. So we're going with three wobblers. Now this middle one that we're using on our third one does have the smallest hooks on it. This has got 3 size 4 hooks. But I figured since it's on our third line, we can try to get a little faster bite rate on it so that it's just at least doing something. Our Balsa on our left has 1-0 hooks on it. The Dodger on the right has 1 2-0 and 1 1-0, which that has been really slow so far. If that continues, we will maybe bump that up to bump that down to 2 1-0s. We'll see how it goes. But I think we're gonna just like kind of follow this track, maybe go over into this area some too, see how the bites seem. Let's see if we can catch some decent fish here at Volkhov. So far, we are getting a lot of pike. Alright, we're going to be turning here soon. Now, if you are a lower level player, just getting to Volkhov, I think something like, I'm going to show you a casting rod example, but something like this is probably what you want to aim for in getting started at getting comfortable trolling Volkhov. Could you do it with something less than this? Sure. But this is kind of what you want to aim for, you know, 16 kilo drag. So if you're doing that on spinning, like if you do have a caliber HSV, obviously I think that would be good. If you have alphas, I think you could get away with that in terms of spinning setups. Let's go ahead and, here, let's cast this one in. But like right now, if you have too small of a setup, what do we have on right now? The 002 or the 003? I can't remember. I think it's the 2. believe it is the 2. Alright, so let's look at this. Actually, that would kind of work. Let's just change this one to a 1.0. I think I want to have the same on. There we go. So we'll put that Dodger on. Oh, there we go. It's finally working. Let's see how good of a fish this is before I go changing the hooks. This might be our best fish yet. Maybe we'll leave it the way it is. But just remember, right now we're catching a lot of pike. So the smaller your fluorocarbon leader, the more likely you are to get it bit off. Hey, it's a salmon. I love it. A nice little Ladoga salmon. So this would be a scary time, I think, to fish here if you have too small of leaders. You're just going to get bit off more often than you probably are comfortable with. Alright, I'm going to go kind of over here into this part of the 8 hole over here, see if it's still, we're still getting bites over here, or if it seems better out here in the middle between the islands. But anyway, I'm going to try to remember to do that, to kind of talk about how someone that is new to Volkhov might set up. I don't know if I really have spinning setups that would be good examples. And that one's just so big. Okay, so like you could probably make this work. I don't know. Like, okay, so let's say you had something like a gold 80, right? So what size leader are we going to shoot for? 12.3, or do we go up to something like 15? And then put some 15-ish braid. Obviously you want a full one, not a small one. So like something like this, I mean, I think you could do this as a starter setup. If you hit a really nice salmon, you are going to be chasing it, obviously. But you could get started trolling Volkhov on something like that. But I wouldn't do much lower than that. Would I do Saber 60s if that's the only thing I had? Maybe, like if you heard that Volkhov trolling was just really good and it was mostly like asp and salmon, maybe you would do it. But again, I think if it's a lot of pike, you just run such a risk of getting bit off because your leader size. I think you're safer trolling at Quarry with Saber 60s than you are here at Volkhov. Really, these salmon... Now, I haven't really fished for the salmon since the change. You know, these used to be Atlantic salmon here at Volkhov, and now they've been changed to the Ladoga salmon. But I assume they still fight really well and still get pretty large here. If that is still the case, you're just going to be in some trouble if you hit the wrong fish on a Saber 60. Oh, it dropped off, by the way. Actually, let's turn around. Are Atlantic salmon still here? So Ladogas max out around 20 kilo. The Atlantic salmon max out at 30. Are they still here? I guess they are. Why was I thinking that they had removed them from here and there was just Ladogas here now? So they added Ladogas, but they kept the Atlantic salmon? Is that what you're telling me? Like, I don't think... Alright, let's look at something. Come on. Are they still here? Or are they still just on the list because they used to be here? They're still here. They are still here. Man, I love the way this reel looks. And this rod. Those together. Man, this is a pike magnet right now. I actually love the way all three of these setups look. Alright, this is really slow over here. I'm going to try the Dodger with the same size hooks on it. Yeah, but I'm sorry about earlier. I think anytime I am trying to do a quick video and I know that, you know, if I'm on call and I know that the phone could ring and I could be interrupted for work, I think I just tend to not pay attention to the details, like, is the mic muted? Didn't it look like there was a fish on that for a second? We're doing alright though, we're catching fish. Now we do have pretty big leaders on here. Probably bigger than we need at Volkhov. I'll keep the big leader on this one, but I think we should trade out. Let's take a chance. Let's do a little bit more, a little smaller leader. See if that seems to affect bite rate at all. We've got 27 on there now. Let's go to more like 21. We'll feel it a little more, but it may impact the bite rate. Oh, this one already has a 23. Let's change it to a 21 as well. I always have felt like 21 is about as low, maybe 19, but about as low that you seem to not get... we don't have another one. We'll do 19. You don't seem to get as many pike problems around that size of leader. Sounds good. On our newly decreased leader size. Ooh. Hey there. Just don't be a pike. Hard left. Pop it out of the water. Nice. That is a pretty fish. Very pretty fish. So we did have one Atlantic salmon. To confirm that the Atlantic salmon are here. Oh, look at that eyed. Holy cow. Wow. That was insane. Yeah, we're basically fishing with two lines here. Although maybe we every once in a while catch something on the snatcher. But we just don't want to have to fight, you know, I mean, unless it's a trophy or something, we're probably going to be able to pretty much muscle anything in on our middle line. Just kind of keeps us out of trouble for the most part. That's the thinking there. Was that a water body record? It was. Water body record, weekly record. Wow. Another nice fish. Once we got out of the morning, it's not all pike. It's kind of nice. It's really nice. Doesn't it just feel like down in between the islands is just a little bit better? Once we get outside of there, doesn't seem like it's quite as good. Let's see. So the Dodger crank is what caught the big Ladoga. That's good. It's a lure that anybody can use. Gotten a little quiet. Hopefully it'll pick up again shortly. Wow. Nice Atlantic. turn that trolling motor off so we're not adding to the tension with the boat movement. Another nice one. Pretty exciting. I wonder if they're going to leave chat off until there's, you know, peace in the world. Or if it's really something that's been getting fixed. See if we can hit a couple more decent fish here before nighttime. Be cool. You would expect it to pick up a little bit, kind of like it was first thing in the morning, although, again, a lot of the early fish were pike, which we just found another pike. Had a couple in the middle, but initially we were just zeroed in on the pike, unfortunately. Although, if they don't bite your lures off, pike add up decent silver. They're fine. You just kind of worry about the possibility of those teeth catching something wrong. I think if I was doing it again, you almost want to find something for the third rod that you're holding that has just as good of a bite rate as possible. Even if it's not catching like the most high quality of fish, you just kind of want stuff coming in just to give you something to do. You need to, you know, have it out of the water sometimes just to catch fish on your other stuff, you know, anyway. So, but hey, that paid off. It's a nice Ladoga salmon on the middle line. Coming in on the snatcher. It just has been really slow for the most part. Oh, now they are popping off. There's another Ladoga. What did the Dodger sink into over here? Also a Ladoga. I assume we're going to turn almost immediately, right? Well, not quite. Alright, we'll start the slow turn here. Now we'll full turn. Okay. A good minute or two. Let's see if we can keep it up. Hit a couple more fish. Thought I had something small on. Thought I saw it out of the corner of my eye here. It's weird, isn't it? It's like we hit these times where we're catching really good catch rate, and we hit other times where it seems to just drop off a bit. The Ladogas are just real and plentiful right now. $27 keepers, 36 minutes. It's not a bad average. It's a good average, actually. Especially for, you know, Volkhov. Volkhov seems to be pretty good right now. And if you really want to go for it, you can go, you know, bottom fish at 71-100 or whatever at night while the trolling's slow. Or you can go sell your fish, check cafe, chill out for a minute, and come right back out. But 71-100 is just right over there, so we're not far. All right, so what do you think? Couple hundred silver? I think we can hit a couple hundred. Even if you don't count the trophy, we might hit 200. No cafe orders. Pretty decent, I think. I mean, a lot of them are small markers, but there's just a big amount of them, and there's some decent, a few decent ones. I think we'll do pretty good. We're not breaking any records, but it's a above average day at Volkhov, for me at least. And sometimes it's more than I think it's going to be. I don't know if that'll be the case this time. But Volkhov can be tricky. You can sort of get if you're spin fishing especially, you can sort of get a surprisingly decent amount of silver even when it doesn't feel like you're doing that great. Some of these fish are just worth a decent amount. Obviously we could have stayed out a little bit longer, but this is the time where it tends to slow down. And you know, just kind of see if we're catch anything through this spot where we weren't fishing during the day as we're trolling back to base here. Because I don't think we saw any asp. It's always nice when the asp are also active. Chub, sometimes you see chub trolling, but not all the time. It's kind of like eyed, a little hit or miss. Yeah, and that's pretty. Oh, Xander. Xander's the other thing. Feels like sometimes Xander are more active out here in front of the pier or in other random spots on the map. And it used to be that actually just kind of sitting somewhere and casting for Xander. Xander actually would be pretty active right now. They tend to be a little more active at night. We might just be hitting perch and stuff in here. Our little pike. Dragging over this 3-meter hole real quick. See if we hit something. Yeah, there's a little something. It is a Xander. Like I said, sometimes, I mean, it's the time of night where Xander can get active. And I do feel like around this 3-meter hole, sometimes it's a pretty reasonable place to try to hit Xander. Looks like we're not going to hit anything else, though. Wonder how long it's been since just fishing off the dock here was like really good for bream or eyed or something like that. We have spent a ton of time fishing for... Did we just get a bite? We did, just as we stopped. Fishing for bream and eyed, stuff like that off this main dock. It's a blast. But those are kind of the olden days. I think it's okay sometimes now, but not as often. All right, so yeah, like I said, sometimes it sneaks up on you. But if you take off the trophy eyed, I mean, it's still 387. I mean, that's sick, right? A day, and then you can go make 100 silver at night if you want to. Potentially. Be ready to troll again in the morning. So Vimba order, usually like reasonably fillable right now at Volkhov. Bream definitely is. Burbot can be, just depends. Nothing good for us though in the cafe, which is interesting. So we're just gonna take our money and run, you know? Let's just take our money and run here. 453 silver later. Had a really good time at Volkhov. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. You've been fishing at Volkhov? Let me know what your experience has been like. I know there's been a resurgence at Volkhov lately. A lot of feeder fishing, bream species, different bream species. But it also seems like spin fishing is pretty awesome right now at Volkhov. So thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Sorry about the muted audio earlier today. But I look forward to seeing you again soon. Tight lines.